TNA Throwback number 82, and it's the second week post pay-per-view. We are 3 weeks out from Destination X. So quick recap from last week's events, just like every time I'm doing this show, and then we're gonna segue on to this week's show. So last week was a basic pay-per-view Fallout Impact. We got the BFG series announcement. We've got Kurt Angle being denied a rematch since he was beaten clean in the middle of the ring by Lito at the pay-per-view. Tyler became the #1 contender. We got Brian Cage being introduced to the show by Robbie E. And they won a tag match. Steiner and the Freak, another win to their total. Then we got Sting and Abyss continuing their feud. Sting beat Abyss to save his career on Sunday. Beer Money picked up a win over Loki and Eddie Kingston. Mickey James was introduced to the crowd. We began the BFG series with the Battle Royal, which was won by Jeff Hardy. And the main event was Aries beating John Morrison to retain the X title. But the most important thing from last week's show was that Heyman came out and he offered Aries the option C, which was he can trade the X title for a world title shot. This seems a little bit like a hot shot, but everyone that's watching the series knows all about option C, so there's no need to explain it, or there's no need to go into detail. It's basically Aries trading his X-Division belt to face the world champion at Destination X, since Destination X is supposed to be the focus of the X-Division. And now, this is the current June 23rd Impact Wrestling 2011. This is the show that we are gonna see Aries' decision. So the show opened with Aries. He announced he'll make his decision about option C tonight. Since last week, Heyman just offered him this choice, so Aries has to make the choice tonight. And the pay-per-view is on July 11th, so we basically got the next show June 30th, and then we got the July 7th show. So Angle came out, and he complained about being screwed by Heyman. He didn't receive his rematch, and he went back and forth like a bitch. Like a whiny bitch, leading to Anderson interrupting him. Anderson couldn't continue listening to his whiny complaints. He called him a sore loser and a little bitch. So this is what I talked about. The Anderson feud with Gunner for the past month was just a filler. I wanted to do the transition so we can do this Anderson and Angle stuff, but we needed to wait until Angle lost the pay-per-view. So Angle lost his cool, he attacked Anderson, he gave him an Olympic slam after poking him in the eye, so this is the setup for a match between these two. We got the BFG series kicking off round 1. This whole tournament has 9 rounds. Already know the rules. Whoever has the most, basically the first 4 guys are moving on to the semifinals, which will take place at No Surrender, which is the September pay-per-view before Bound for Glory, and the winner will get a world title shot at Bound for Glory. So the first match, Jeff Hardy defeated Kazarian via pinfall, earning 7 points. They shook hands after the match. So Jeff is just blowing his competition out of the water right now, since he won the Battle Royal last week to gain 20 points head start, and right now he's at 27 while all the other guys are basically at 0. But it doesn't matter who is first in the so-called round robin phase. This is just like the regular season, where if you're first, you have to face the fourth anyway, and the second faces the third. So Jeff can win all his matches. He still has to win the semi-final and the final to go to Bound for Glory. Then we got an in-ring segment. Beer Money challenged the Pope and Morgan to a tag titles match at Destination X. since Beer Money was feeling on the high ever since the 10-man tag, and last week they won again. But Crimson Joe interrupted. They told Rude and Storm to slow down because they got a rematch for Destination X. So yeah, this is the contractually obligated rematch. I don't do this after every title change, but this is an appropriate way to do it because I already explained that I have plans for Crimson and Joe to split, and I can't do it without doing a rematch between these two teams. And Crimson and Joe have been champions since Against All Odds, so it's a good way to give them a rematch because they've been champions for the past 4 months. Then after this confrontation, we got another match from the BFG series. John Morrison defeated Crimson, basically via a enziguri and a roll-up, or like a quick pinfall, when Joe costed his partner the match. So the point here is to drive the rift between these two guys. So Joe is gonna come out, he's gonna try to distract Morrison, but instead Crimson is gonna tell him to go to the back, and then Crimson is gonna get distracted by this, so Morrison is gonna pick up the win. Then we got Steiner backstage. The Freak is gonna be in the back. He cut the promo on Beer Money, and basically Steiner said that they got momentum. He means that his team got momentum and they're more deserving of a title shot. So I'm kind of pushing the tag team division right now. So I'm pushing Steiner and the Freak. I'm pushing Beer Money. I'm introducing new team in Robbie and Cage. So a lot of tag team stuff here. So basically Steiner wants a title shot also. So we're gonna see how this dispute will settle after pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is the rematch between Pope and Morgan and Crimson and Joe, and then we're gonna see what will happen after this. Robbie and Cage announced they're the New Jersey's Dream Team. This is the new team that they are forming. This is the name of them. This is their name. So they challenged Steiner and the Freak next week to a tag team match. Then the follow-up is Steiner and the Freak facing the Guns. Freak pinned Shelly after Steiner used a weapon to hit him behind the ref's back. It's kind of weird because I'm jobbing out the Motor City Machine Guns, but the Guns, I don't really have major plans for them right now, and wrestling is cyclical. So when you have plans for someone else, you need to job these guys right now. Then we're gonna hit them up when I have the plans for them, but they're supposed to job here. So another match from the series. Eric Young defeated Gunner via pinfall when Hernandez provided distraction. So I already said that Eric Young is gonna compete in the BFG series, which will mean that his Team Fight Club stable is gonna be in the background. It's not gonna take a space on the show. But we're gonna have some of those guys interfering and helping him in the matches. I explained that I decided to switch from a stable based show where I got a lot of focus on some stables to just dropping this right now and focusing on singles and tag matches. Because I think the crowd and I am already sick of the stables on this show. So again, we got confrontation between Sting and Abyss. Abyss called out Sting. He wanted the blow-off match at Destination X with Sting's career on the line again. So yeah, there is no real explanation for Sting putting his career on the line again. It's just Abyss being bitter about his loss. So Sting said he only put his career on the line if Abyss put his mask on the line. So Abyss hesitated. So this was Sting's plan because Sting knows that Abyss's everything is his mask. So if Abyss takes the mask off, he's basically like Kane without the mask. It's just a very dramatic thing, so he can't live without his mask. So it feels like these are two equal things, Sting's career and Abyss's mask. Of course, this is all before the Joseph Park gimmick, so Abyss is He's never been without the mask here, so it's really hard for him to put the mask on the line. So you can all see where this is headed. We're probably gonna have a career versus mask at the pay-per-view. Singles match. Mickie James defeated Angelina Love in her debut, but Love got revenge. Then we got a backstage interview with AJ. He was asked about his upcoming match with RVD in the BFG series. AJ vowed to win the series. Lito cut a promo saying he wants to face Aries, but it's up to Austin himself to choose where to face him or not. Lito is aware of the fact that Austin can use option C and face him at Destination X because it was already confirmed that Tango is not getting the rematch, so Lito still doesn't have an opponent at this point in this show. A follow-up non-title match, Jay Lito defeated Carlito, so Heyman came out for the big decision. He called out Aries, wanting to know his decision, so Aries came to the ring with the X title. We had a little confrontation and a back and forth. Aries told Heyman that he's gonna reach for the opportunity, he's gonna reach for the brass ring. So he looked Lito in the eyes and said that he's looking at the new World Heavyweight Champion because he's cashing in this option, and he gave the X title to Heyman, so option C is utilized. So probably on next week's show we're gonna have the X title vacated and we're gonna have a quick tournament or a match at the pay-per-view to determine the new champion. And yeah, Jay Lito vs. Austin Aries is signed for the world title at Destination X. The main event was AJ vs. RVD in the BFG series match. AJ defeated RVD via Spiral Tap to earn his first 7 points. So we got one more match from round 1. Chris Daniels takes on Joe. This match is going to be next week. There's just not enough space for all 5 matches to take place on every show, but every match will take place is just going to be sometimes 3 matches, sometimes 4, and then we're going to do the others on the other shows. So I've already done the results and all the scheme that I'm gonna do the tournament, so there's no need to worry about that. So it's officially signed. We got Jay Lito vs. Aries at Destination X, so this is supposed to be a great match. Actually, this card is shaping up nicely. We got 2 more weeks, we got 2 more shows until the pay-per-view, and I think this is gonna be a great show on paper. So every show here is on paper because it's fantasy booking, but I really like how this card shapes up. So stay tuned for next week where we are gonna see where this Lito Aries match is headed for the build-up and what's gonna happen between Sting and Abyss, Angle and Anderson, all these other stuff.